Howdy, Ags. Welcome to Aggie Growth Hacks, the podcast sponsored by the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M, where we help entrepreneurs improve their business, connect with other Aggie entrepreneurs, and support one another. I'm your host, Greg Martin, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001.
And I'm your co-host, Chris Hunter, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 1998. Whoop!
Well, we got a little story for you, Ags. Brandon Cunningham, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 24. That's right. I said Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2024. Brandon is a current student that has a full-time construction science schedule, a thriving lawn care business, and he is dedicated to connecting with other Aggie entrepreneurs and then encouraging other student entrepreneurs to succeed. Man, this guy is so inspiring, and we cannot wait to bring this episode to you.
So pass it back and listen up to Brandon as he shares some good bull.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. This is such a unique conversation on Aggie Growth Hacks. Ags, as I said in the intro, Brandon is an entrepreneur, but he is currently a student at our beloved Texas A&M University. And I just got to say two things. First off, entrepreneurship is alive and well at A&M. And I think that made Chris's heart just smile. Hopefully everybody that's listening to this podcast, you're just stoked about that. And two, Chris, we were slackers, man. I was in the Corps. I kind of worked, in going through school, but I didn't start my own business. I didn't start a new student organization celebrating entrepreneurship. We suck, man. So Brandon, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Greg and Chris, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So what do you are a student at A&M. Most of the time we ask all of the old Ags, what do you miss about being a student? But what do you love about being an entrepreneur student at A&M right now?
I'll tell you what I really love is I love that I can be a resource to my fellow students. I talk to a lot of students, and I'm a construction science major, and a lot of these students want to start their own construction company at some point, but they really have no idea how to start and really think it's a far-fetched idea. And I love instilling that it's really not. And Texas A&M has plenty of resources. McFerrin and the Aggie network is incredible. And so, helping guide students into meeting the right people to help them kind of get their career goals on track is something I really love about being the student entrepreneur at A&M.
Love that. So let me ask you, because, one of the things that I love asking all entrepreneurs that come on to Aggie Growth Hacks here is, what's your origin story? And this is going to be a two-part question, because you have not only started C&R Landscaping and Home Services, right? You are also starting a student organization. We really want to dig into that. So let's first start with C&R. What's the origin story for that, and why are you passionate about that, especially while you were a student?
So that's actually a good question. So when I was a junior in high school, me and my best friend, we decided that in the event that we were able to make it into Texas A&M construction science, that before we were to work for anybody else while we were in school, we wanted to start our own business. I come from a line of, I'm a third generation Aggie entrepreneur. My granddad, I believe he was class 62. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's right. And he was a civil engineer, and he had a number of firms throughout Texas and Oklahoma doing land surveying. And then my dad's a longtime Aggie entrepreneur. I don't think he's ever worked for anybody since he graduated in 2000. So that was kind of the line that led me and my best friend, Dustin, who helped me also start the organization. We decided that what is a way that we could make our own schedule while we were going to school to help us do well and be able to make time for our classes and make enough money to still be able to go to the chicken on, Saturdays and be all right. So it was less about being passionate about mowing and all that, but we were really passionate about entrepreneurship, and especially as students, because we'd never heard a lot of stories about it. And once we did that, it's been an incredible journey now, and we're about a year and a half into it, and it's nothing but productive for both of us. It's been a element of business classes that we never thought we'd be able to get as construction science majors.
That's so cool. I think that's something that we've heard from a lot of other Aggie entrepreneurs that haven't gone through Maze, is that they focus so much on like being the technical expert that the college wants you to be. But as an entrepreneur, you've got to be that and running your business. So that's the best of both worlds. But what else? What's this student organization that you've just started?
So the student organization was another thing that was kind of created out of that whole origin story. Is while we actually developed, me and Dustin is he's also my roommate. We started the business together. And it was part of this. We had an 11-page business plan. He lived about 200 miles away from me while we were in high school. And we would talk on the phone in the morning from about 6:30 until my school started at 8. And we had an 11-page business plan we came up with. And we still have it on the legal pad we wrote it on about 5 years ago. And in that was, if we ever were able to create a successful business as students, we really did want to help other students do the same. And because we guessed it right, we guessed that there was going to be a bunch of really unique challenges to it because you have 2 full-time jobs. You've got to run your business. You got people counting on you there. And then you've got your first commitment, which is school. Parents would be pretty upset if you didn't put school first. Anyway, we wanted to create the student organization because as entrepreneurs, we all thrive off of competition and, incentivizing. So we wanted to create something that kind of mirrored the Aggie 100. We were able to give some, top 10 students some sort of scholarship and unique opportunities to network with other Aggie entrepreneurs and be able to ask those tough questions. As student business owners, we don't know anything about taxes. We're 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. We don't know anything about taxes, but the IRS doesn't care. So we wanted to create a kind of a forum where we could have, and an interesting thing is, Brittany Lanfear y'all had on not that long ago. She's actually my cousin. And
wow.
So
that's cool.
My plan with the organization is to involve her. And so I can have students, if they got a question about, either creating an entity or tax questions or anything, they can be able to reach out to some sort of accountant or, banker, anybody, and be able to ask those tough questions that they wouldn't otherwise be able to ask.
So how has that been received? And, so how big is your group? Do you have 10 people that you're communicating and helping? Is it 20? Is it 100?
So for right now, this is kind of going to be our baseline semester coming into the spring. So Texas A&M doesn't make it very easy to start an organization. So we've been creating governing documents and finding the right people, having the right sponsorships within the university. Mm-hmm. So we haven't been able to even start on recruiting yet, but we've got a good group, and we're going to, hopefully we've got some good connections in Mays to help us, also navigate in McFerrin, because that's where all these student entrepreneurs right now are kind of going. And, hopefully use it as kind of a complement to McFerrin to allow these students to, sort of compete with each other and showcase what they're doing. But we anticipate in our first semester, we're hoping to have at least 20 students and then growing from there.
That is so cool. So as you're going through and saying, okay, the Aggie 10, this is going to be the Aggie 100, the fastest growing student-owned, student-run businesses. And we won't kind of get into the criteria of everything, but what I hear from you speaking and what we talked before is that you are all about empowering and helping and encouraging and bringing other Aggie entrepreneurs together and helping them. I mean, you're a student that's running a business, and you say the most important thing is I can help other students to do the same thing. Where did you get that drive? Is that something that has just been instilled in you, or you saw your parents do? Or
well, I think, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a 3rd generation successful Aggie entrepreneur. I say successful in a relative term. As a student, I feel like I'm doing all right. But, I watched my granddad, as my dad was starting his first companies, in 2008 or so. So I was just old enough to be able to realize what in the world was going on. I saw my dad receiving help from my granddad and other people around him, being able to ask those tough questions. And it was, inspiring to see that. And knowing that these entrepreneurs aren't getting there on their own. And those who say they are, that they're not. You've got to have the right people helping you out. And so, and another thing is, I've reached out to as many Aggie 100 winners as I have been able to in the past probably 2 years. And the amount of help that I've received from these people in all industries has been incredible. And so I feel the best I can do is learning from those people who are my role models, both family and those other Aggie 100 winners, and taking that and trying to help students who a lot of them don't even know they have the question, but they know they want to start a business, but they haven't begun thinking about it, and they're about to graduate. And so I think that it gives me the most satisfaction for me gives me more satisfaction than picking up another commercial client, doing anything, is having that satisfaction, be able to help a peer and knowing that it's going to help them in the future.
That's pretty cool. So I want to dig into that a little bit, because that was really just an awesome thing that you said there, that you're reaching out to all the Aggie 100 winners, right? For the past couple of years. I think that is so cool. So is there anyone in that group of people that you have, reached out to that's really helped you, and not only helped you, but given you ideas on how you can, get this organization not only off the ground, but really truly make a big difference with these students?
Right. And so with this, I think I told this to Greg whenever we met for the first time, is, I really kind of dedicated at least 3 days a week, 3 lunches a week to meeting with another Aggie entrepreneur in either Bryan College Station, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, just enough where I could drive. And, I was going to mention some names of people who've actually been on this podcast that I had no idea until I started listening. So, a big person that plays a role in that is Travis Tatum, y'all's first episode ever. It's Travis Tatum. Well, Travis Tatum really played an important role in my development of our business. So we were doing, we were mowing people's yards, residential yards and stuff, and that was all great, but there's really no scalability in there. So it's the same client over and over, especially in Bryan College Station, because 90% of the houses are the same. And a guy that I had known and I had worked for in the past had asked me, he said they needed their church mowed and taken care of over off Rock Prairie Road. And Travis Tatum happened to be the property chair there. And so he introduced me to Travis. And so Travis got me in with my first commercial client. He was my first commercial client. And then once I saw that, I was like, all right, this is where we scale. This is where we go from here. So me and Dustin sat down and we figured out how we were going to make this work, especially with school, because we need to maintain all of our residential clients along with hopefully gaining some more commercial clients. So Travis got me that church. And then a few months later, he asked me to start mowing Dunham Engineering. And so we started doing that, taking care of that. And me and Travis became, good friends, and I still am to this day. I think I'm actually going to the church today. I'm going to take care of the church today. But I keep in contact with him, and he helped me out a lot. But another big person that helped me out is a guy named Jack Matt, who's a Texas A&M class of 1971. He owns, I think he told me through his course of Aggie entrepreneurship, he's had 134 companies, and 5 of which have gone public. He's a big guy. He lives over here in Bryan. And him and his wife are, big supporters of Mays and the Health Science Center. I think he said he's got like 7,000 hours of professorship at Mays. But anyway, I met him at a restaurant here in town, and I met with him and I pitched this organization idea to him. And he took it for about 2.5 hours and ran me up the flagpole, told me where it was all wrong and told me where it needed to go. And it wasn't what I was expecting. I was just curious about his business experience. And then we ended up getting to talking, and he's been an incredible resource in that. And he really inspired, because I remember after our conversation with him, me and the co-founders of that Aggie 10 organization went through our operations manual, which is our, the booklet that the whole organization is based off of, and restructured the whole thing to help with the competition and figure out different incentives for these students. And to this day, I still don't hesitate to reach out to Mr. Matz and ask him a good question if I got one.
Ags right there. That is the Aggie Network in action right here. And Brandon, congratulations and kudos to you for realizing the unique opportunity that current A&M students have. All of us old dudes and old gals love talking with entrepreneurs, and we will do almost anything to clear our schedule to be able to talk with you. So if there are any student entrepreneurs that are listening, y'all hook up with Brandon, follow his example, and then reach out to the old ags, to people that are in your major or in the company that you want to work with. LinkedIn is amazing for that. And Brandon, kudos for you for realizing that and really stepping up. So, okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna turn the conversation a little bit. So let's be real, man. All right, your number 1 job is school. Your number 2 job is the lawn care. Number 3 is developing this Aggie organization and building out your network. 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. How in the world do you do all of that? Do you sleep? I mean, how do you literally, so let's talk about the business. How do you organize it? How do you, because you can't be mowing lawns the entire time.
No.
What are you doing?
So, like I said, school's first. So, me and Dustin are both incredibly busy. We're both taking, I believe, 16 hours this semester, for example. So we've got a full load.
God, that's a load right there.
Well, I know it. And so we kind of structured our schedules in a way where we have plenty of time to work in the daylight hours and be able to take care of stuff at night. But as far as school goes, we'll start off with that. As school goes, as soon as we get assignments, y'all know, I mean, it's probably different from when y'all were here. As soon as we get an assignment, it's posted online and we've got access to it. We get a little alert on our phone. And so as soon as we get these notifications, we start cranking them out, getting our assignments done as fast as we can. And we do, getting them done right and taking that as priority. And then, me and Dustin will spend a lot of time in the evenings, go over at the business library over by Wayner, West Campus Library, and, kind of do our research and development on what we need to do and, invoicing, little things like that, figuring out where we're going to be and how we're going to, figure out a way to make money in the winter months. Because, I'm good friends with Travis, but Travis still doesn't need his grass mowed in the middle of December. So, we've got to figure out a way to be creative around that. And then right now I'm also doing an internship. So that's been another thing. So I'm doing like
job number
30 hours a week in that. Yeah. But, they've been, and that's another Aggie entrepreneur there. His name's Kenneth Netherland. He owns a precast concrete company here in Bryan, and he's been incredibly flexible with me because that's the kind of the career path I want to go down and, manufacture, bridge components and stuff. But anyway, he's been very flexible. I can just send him a text and say, hey, like I did with Greg. I said, hey, I'm going to go have lunch with someone over here in College Station. I'll be about an hour and a half. And he's very accommodating, understands what I'm doing is just for the betterment of, me and everybody around me. And then as far as other stuff goes, we've got two other co-founders of this organization who are two other student entrepreneurs. And they really buckle down and get going on the development of that organization. I get a text from them every once in a while. They need me to send me an email and I forget about it. I get fussed at, but that's all right.
Hold each other accountable, right?
It's exactly right. And that's exactly why I did it in the first place, is I knew with the organization, I knew it was going to be a very time consuming project, but it was well worth it. And I wasn't going to stop until we got it done. But, I started going through some of these documents and thought to myself, there's no way this is going to get done on our own. And so I got the best marketing major, girl that I had known for a while, Reese Crossland, and she's very well connected within Maze, and she's very passionate about what she does, and she runs a very good business for her. And so I got her. I said, hey, do you want to be our treasurer? And you can take care of all the marketing for us. And she couldn't have been happier. So she's taken it. She's bought in. Like, that's what y'all have always said on this podcast, having that buy-in. And I finally got to see what that meant when I started introducing this idea to other, these two other people. They really bought into the idea and took an ownership role in it and have taken it as their own. And it's taken a weight off my shoulders to allow me to go do these other things I need to do. Anyway, that was kind of long-winded, but that was my answer to the question.
That's great.
That's awesome. So you're running CNR Lawn Care and Home Services. You're starting up Aggie 10, student organization, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about CNR, right? What's your big, hairy, audacious goal for this? What are you trying to accomplish with that other than just paying for college?
Right. So
paying for beer. He didn't say anything.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was beer. That's right.
For beer.
Dixie chicken. That's right. That's right.
We can't say that. I'm not 21 quite yet. So anyway,
for the Tijuana fries, I swear that's all I get there.
Exactly right. Yeah. No, they make a killer burger. Anyway, I just go there for the Domino's and but anyway, so my BHAG for CNR is, it really is a means to an end for us, I believe, because we will go out on our respective career paths after we're done. I think we both realize that. And Dustin's one class below me, and then I have a brother who's here who's one class below him. And so, somewhere in there, we're kind of all learning it together. And, me and Dustin have been doing this, for a year and a half now. My brother just got here this semester. So, kind of showing him how all this stuff works and then kind of leaving that down. I'm not really sure what the BHAG is there after we're done, because we're going to be incredibly tied up in our careers after graduation.
So are you going to sell the business then to your brother, or, what's your plan there?
I don't think I'm going to sell it. I think I'm going to retain a little bit of ownership and just let him take it as his own. At least I got to talk about that with Dustin and them, but I think that's what I think that'd be the best course of action, and then just keep it going down. And we've got, throughout the summer, we've had, I think, 8 different students that have, worked for us doing mowing and stuff. And so, finding a good student who can also buy into that and has a passion for entrepreneurship, I'd love to do that to help someone out, and not just give it away, but create a learning experience with a business that already has an established client base. It still teach you good lessons, but it's a whole lot easier than starting from the bottom.
Big facts right there.
That is the most red ass pass down I've ever heard of. I mean, that is such a really cool idea. And I'm just thinking through, I mean, how do you can bring people on, and because they're going to be there for 4 or 5 years, and you can kind of work through from a standpoint of compensation and maybe not necessarily equity that they get, but they stick with you each year and get a little bit more, and then maybe have some type of clawback if they pass it along, steward it well, and identify the next people coming on, but you can still retain ownership, and you just kind of use that as a lab of teaching entrepreneurship at A&M. Brandon, that is such a really cool idea. That's a BHAG. That's one of the coolest BHAGs.
Thank you.
So, Brandon, we're going to roll into the lightning round. You have really been so inspirational today, but we've got 5 quick questions, answering them in a minute or less. What is your personal favorite hack? A personal hack, a business hack, a time management hack? You probably got a jillion of those, but what can we learn from you?
So my favorite hack, because I do have a lot on my plate now, and I know we all do, but my favorite hack right now is once every 2 days or so, I like to get a piece of paper, at least in my mind, or notes on my phone, and write down everything that has to get done in the next probably 2 weeks and really visualize it. And if I can visualize it and I've got an idea of stuff that I can control, stuff I can't control, and stuff really make a prioritized list. And that has helped me keep a clear focus on what I'm doing. Because when we started this, I didn't have that. And I was very sporadic in the stuff I was doing. And my school took a hit for, a couple of weeks. And I was like, this can't work this way. And so I started looking into it, figuring out what I need to do. And it came down to organization. So I would say my favorite hack is definitely visualizing what you have to do and what you need to do to accomplish it.
Love it. All right. Next question. What is the favorite advice you've ever been given? And bonus 24 points.
24 points.
That's right. If you tell us how you applied it.
Okay. So my favorite advice I've ever been given was from my dad. And it was never walk away from a conversation, never avoid a conversation. And how I've used that is, I've met, it's got to be close to 100 now of these Aggie entrepreneurs that I've met over the past 2 years, and the contacts on my phones, they're all a phone call away. So I'm never left with a question for more than about 24 hours without getting a good response. And so that advice really did change. It really gave me the confidence I needed to push through and really reach out and cold call these people.
That's cool. Brandon, what's your superpower?
Superpower? I'd say I got a good eye for an Aggie ring in a public area. But I'd say superpower is probably delegating in a way into helping others and managing my time to where I can be the most efficient that I can be. So if it means passing on something like the organization, where you put the weight of the organization on someone else's shoulders, trusting that, I'd say that's my superpower, even though it's not anything crazy, but I think that's what it is.
That's awesome. Still love it. All right. What gets you out of bed and excited about CNR and Aggie 10?
Like I said, it's more with the Aggie 10. CNR is it's awesome, and it provides me a way to provide for myself and really, navigate entrepreneurship and the challenges it brings. But Aggie 10, I love the idea of being able to help people every day. And same with school. I love going up and talking to students, and I love when they say, "Oh, you have business? I want to start a business one day." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, let's figure it out if you really want to do that." And, it's a cool thing getting that text. They'll say, "Hey, are you free tonight? I'd love to talk about what I need to do to start a business." And I think that's happened probably 5 or 6 times now. Just cool. Just a cool feeling.
That is so cool.
That is, dude, that's awesome. How can the Aggie Growth Hacks family, how can the Aggie Network get in touch with you? I mean, I think that you're probably going to be the first person that's connected to everybody. in the Aggie Network. We're going to play 6 Degrees of Separation of Brandon.
Yeah, right.
But how can we help you? How can we get in touch with you? How can we support, encourage, and come alongside you?
Well, if anyone in Bryan College Station needs a grass mowed, my contact information will be in the description of the episode. But I'm on LinkedIn. We've got Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages, Instagram, all that. And then I'll provide you my email and my cell phone number, and you put that in there as well.
Okay. What about the Aggie 10? Do you have a website, anything kind of up with that? I know that that's just, in its infancy, but I know that you're going to have a lot of Ags want to reach out to you and see how we can support in speaking to that.
We'll have a website here in the next probably month or so, because we're starting on this baseline semester. So I'll get that to you as soon as we get it.
Okay. So this is going to be dropping in January of 2023. Yes. So it should be up by then. If not, Ags, make sure you just reach out to Brandon.
Yep. That'd be perfect.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all these value bombs with us. I mean, I am impressed that you're a student taking 16 hours of classes at Texas A&M University, running a business, doing an internship, and starting up this nonprofit, student organization, right? So, which you've got to jump through tons and tons of hoops on that with Texas A&M, right? But I'm so impressed with all that. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us and the Aggie Growth Hacks community. And thanks for coming on and sharing.
Well, I really appreciate y'all having me, and it was great talking to y'all, and I look forward to talking to y'all soon.
Well, how about that, Ags? Was that pretty awesome or what? Brandon is really super inspiring. I mean, I don't know too many people that went to school and took 16 hours, ran a business, started a student organization, and did an internship all at the same time. I took a ton away from that. I know I've got tons of things written down here. What was your biggest takeaway, Greg?
I'm going to give 2 because that guy is so inspiring and really, like you said, I can't believe he's doing all that. But number one, the initiative that he has in creating the Aggie 10 to be able to say, hey, this is cool. Something that other student entrepreneurs need. And just kind of that connection and bringing them all together, and just his initiative to say, you know what, it's not there, but I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to make it happen. But then 2, his tenacious networking, that puts me to shame. I mean, but this guy is someone that understands the value of the Aggie Network and is going after it, not only for a self-serving purpose. I mean, I didn't hear a single lick of that in the entire thing. But he said, I want to connect with other Aggies to learn from them, but I also want to connect with other Aggies so that if there's someone in my network that I can connect them with, I can help them to improve, to get better. I mean, he's using the Aggie Network and networking better than anyone that I've seen. Absolutely. What about you?
No, and I 100% agree on that. I'd love to hear that he's reaching out to the Aggie 100 winners, and I'm not sure if it made it into the podcast here or not, but he mentioned the reason why is because he went to the Aggie 100 with his dad. His dad's a 3-time Aggie 100 winner, and he went there as an 8th grader there, so that gave him the inspiration to do that. I think that is so cool. And every single Aggie out there that's listening to this should take note of that and start reaching out to other Aggies in the Aggie Network. So my takeaway, right, was, he talked about how does he get all this stuff done? Well, he prioritizes, right? And he blocks and tackles his time. I know that I talk about that all the time, but it is so very important, especially the busier that you get as an entrepreneur and the more successful you get, you got to be able to prioritize things. First of all, find the right person in the right seat. And number 2, you have got to prioritize the things that you are doing and you are personally working on. And I love that he does that. He sits down every couple of days to make sure that he's refocused and re-energized and going towards the things that he wants to be working on.
100% agree without a doubt. Man, I'm just so motivated by Brandon. So cool. Well, Alex, that's going to do it for this episode of Aggie Growth Hacks. If y'all are not connected with Brandon on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, y'all need to do yourself a favor. Old Ags, help him out and connect with him. If you are a student entrepreneur on A&M's campus right now and you're not connected with Brandon, make sure that you do that. And I know that he's going to bring so much value to you and to your network and to help out. We also hope that you connect with Chris and I, you connect with Aggie Growth Hacks on all the social media platforms, and make sure you check out aggiegrowthhacks.com, where you can hear this episode, previous episodes, and some of our other great content.
We also want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M University. Since 1999, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship has served as the hub of entrepreneurship for Texas A&M. If you're an Aggie entrepreneur or even a wantrepreneur or even a student wantrepreneur, head on over to their website right now to find a program that's right for you. Just go to aggiegrowthhacks.com/McFerrin to get there. Join us next time when we connect with another great Aggie entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Till then, I'm Chris Hunter.
And I'm Greg Martin. Thanks and gig 'em.